Welcome. I'm here with Vena Boddy. She is the CEO at the Foundry Workspaces, which is in Michigan. I'll let her kind of describe where she's located. And Vena, I'm looking forward to hearing your backstory. You were in our mail challenge program, which is like an awesome group, but oftentimes we're talking about mail. So I don't get all the context on your background and how you came to do co-working, but you have some interesting aspects to your business that I'm looking forward to sharing. Like, so you're in a smaller market. Your
Yes.
space is mostly unstaffed, although I know you spend
Mhm.
a lot of time there. And you do all like non-dedicated private offices, which
Correct.
yeah, I love the thing about this industry is that it's like there are some typical spaces that sort of are predictable, and then there are, like, surprises, like, "Well, I decided to do it this way."
Yeah.
So I think it's so fun to share those stories because it just gets the wheels turning around, like, what's possible, and I love this because it's kind of like mail. I'm always pitching the part-time private office,
Mhm.
and people are pretty resistant about it, so are resistant to it, I should say. So, that's why I'm excited to kinda share your story and why you decided to set it up that way, and
Awesome.
yeah. Okay. So I said no unexpected questions, but I hadn't looked at your LinkedIn profile. Okay. So yeah, tell me the story because you're a life coach. I love life coaches. I'm just think it's such a great role. Like
Yes.
there's therapists, but then there's life coaches who just have this totally different role. So yeah, I want to hear your backstory, including the life coaching, and then how did you decide to do co-working?
So my 24-year career was actually in hair. I did hair for 24 years. And then in 2020, I got certified to be a life coach because here in Michigan, hairstylists were not allowed to work. And I was like, okay,
Oh,
like
in
here's a
2020.
pivot.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
also, as
So
a
yeah.
hairstylist, maybe you were a life coach, but
Yeah, and I
part
found that that went
hairstylist, part
really good hand in
therapist.
hand.
Yeah.
So, I will say life coaching, I don't do as much of it anymore because I am like a results driven person. And
Mhm.
life coaching sometimes gets to be like people like to, chat about things going on and things that they'd like to change in their life, but then they don't ever really take the
Mm,
action. And
yeah.
I'm such an action taker. So I did put that on hold. And my husband had bought a building a couple years ago, and we had an extra space in that building. And he has been a lifelong entrepreneur, and we have multiple businesses together as well. And all the co working spaces here in Michigan are in downtown areas. And so, where we're at in Michigan, it's in the suburbs. We are like smack dab in like the triangular area of like Detroit, Flint, and Ann Arbor. So to get to any major like co-working space, like you normally see like the WeWorks and the different branded ones, it's like a 35-45 minute drive without construction and traffic. And
Yeah.
so we were like, what if we put something right in the middle of the suburbs? And he kind of toyed with the idea for a long time. And our building is just built out in a way where we have 6 private offices. So that's where we started toying with the idea of like memberships based around groupings of hours, kind of like fractional co-working, if that makes sense. That's such a hot word right now, and it really works for our
The
space.
fractional, I
So,
know. Well,
yeah.
okay, so how had you been in a co-working space before? Like, how did the idea like, "Oh, we should do co-working," like, pop
Yeah,
into your
he
mind?
had been into co-working spaces
Okay.
before. We knew some people that had worked in some of the larger co-working
Yep.
spaces in Detroit. So he had kind of told me about the idea a long time ago. And with him being a busy business owner, he kind of was like, I have this idea and it's kind of how I want it. And eventually he asked me if I would be a part of it because he just couldn't get a grasp on like building out the offices and the packages and things like that. So that's where I came in. So I stepped back from doing hair and I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to like do it. I'm not going
Yeah.
to do it part time. So I stepped back from doing hair and we just kind of started talking about what he needed when he was coming up in business, you know? And so some of the things that came up were like he worked a full-time job and then was building his business at night, like after his shift at the pizza place, you know? And so we talked about having a lot of flexibility and that sometimes somebody doesn't want to pay 500 to $1,000 a month for an office. And there's entrepreneurs out there that might need a couple hours a week just to put their head down and grind out some work and get away from their distractions at home. And so we really just sat down and started going, okay, why do you think this would work? And what did you need when you were coming up? And so that's kind of where we started coming up with our packages. And we decided instead of renting out the offices outright, it would make more sense if we could just sell them by hour. We could do a better turnover that way.
Mhm.
We could get more members in that way and have a lot more flexibility in the way we did things. And then we also didn't want people to be stuck in big contracts
Yeah.
because that's daunting for
Yeah.
young business owners as well. So just that also that flexibility, not just hour to hour, but even month to month, people are like, "Hey, I want to go out of town. Can we turn my membership off this month?" And it's like, "Yeah, you can't
So
actually."
you're
So
super flexible. You're just
super
like,
flexible.
"Sure." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of where the ideas came from and kind of how we started working on our packages and what would work for this space that we already have.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting that you landed there and that your husband was kind of pulling from his memory of like his early days because
Yeah.
so many people who maybe would start without would start with flex memberships. But you already had the offices built. They already
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah. So Steve a law office. So the offices were all built out and we turned the conference room into a lounge.
Okay.
So like where you can do more open co-working, but it's very boutique. Like it's small. It's not, we always say it's not like the big open concept, co-working that has like beer taps and cafes. Like
Yeah.
it's little, it's a boutique co-working space. So we
Yep.
kind of were really just trying to work within the space that we had
Yep.
like, how could we make this the most profitable and the most flexible for our members?
Yeah, and you're just kinda trying to optimize what you have. I love it and keep it
Yeah.
simple. Okay, so when somebody comes in, if they want a dedicated office, the most they can get is the 120 hours per month.
So our highest end package is the 120 hours per month, and I
Yeah.
believe that's priced at $450 a
Yeah.
month. And that also gives them some conference room time and some like rental if they need to have host like an event here or things like that. And they can also share those hours between three, I think it's three total like team members as well.
Which is also super flexible. I've never actually seen that. Do people actually do that?
Yeah, we've had a
Okay.
couple of people who have signed up as a team. We have one current team, and we had somebody leave over the summer because they got a space in
Yeah.
our closest downtown area. So we love that. We're like, oh yeah, you graduated and bought your own, got your own space that you could, renovate. But yeah, we do have the teams that use the packages, and what they like is they basically have a bag of hours, and when they booked on, we use Office R&D, it just pools like each member will keep pulling out of that bag of hours. So it works really well for people who are like, I have a team member that wants to pop in one day a week. I'd like to pop in a couple days a week, but without having to each have their own membership. It's been nice. So, and we haven't ever seen anybody even, I think one time somebody got close to their 120 hours.
Yeah.
So usually people are down, even at that package, are down in like the 90s to 100, even with team members. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I love. Well, I love these packages because to your point, like they're buying access, but they tend to underutilize.
Yes.
Yeah, the oh my gosh, Dan Wesson at the Post in Tucson, they've been doing this for a long time.
Oh,
So I
awesome.
did recently ask him like, "Okay, does it, how does this, work?" And they've kinda optimized their packages and had the data and said like no one goes over their hours. Like, yeah, and they oversell quite a bit. I have it seems so simple to offer it to a team, and that's never occurred
Mhm,
to me. Like, I always think of it as, like, the individual user who needs
mhm.
access. So, you're solving, like, another problem. It's like, well, we don't have to say no to teams. They can share it too, which is
Right.
totally
And
smart.
then also, anytime you're a member here, you get lounge access as well. So if you have a team of 2 or 3, you can all meet up in the lounge to like,
Yeah,
brainstorm things like that. You don't all have to be using an office at the same time. It really works. And our teams that we've had in here have like really liked it for that.
yeah. No, I love that. Okay, and then they have digital door access. What door access
Yes.
system do you use?
We use Salto.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So there's
Awesome.
Salto and Office RD, and it's
And they
pretty simple
integrate.
and
Yep.
it's automated. Like, as soon as they sign up for a package, they get their welcome email and it has all the steps and they get their door access codes right away. And yeah, it's pretty simple, which makes it easy for me since I am a single operator. So
Mhm.
I don't have to always be here because everybody has their access and can kind
Yeah.
of come and go as they please. So
Yeah, and even while you're super flexible. So and you just took 2 weeks and went to Europe.
I
So
did. Yeah.
yep.
Lovely.
Did you which is awesome. So people listening are probably thinking, "I could use a vacation, and I would like to be able to leave my space for 2 weeks."
Mhm.
So, did you have anybody on call for emergencies? How did you manage that?
I had somebody set up to come in and turn the offices at night and check our mailbox since we are in the mail program and we got to log all that too. So I did have somebody coming in and it's just somebody that we use anytime I'm out of town. It's like a college student. She's local. She lives around the corner. So yeah, we utilize her and I literally think she logged her hours and I think she logged 6 hours out of the whole 15 days I was gone. So, I mean, and it was
Amazing.
I mean, they're coming in, they're changing the trash, they're wiping off the desks, filling it, she filled up I always have like organic fruit. And so she filled all that stuff up for me a couple times. But I mean, it was super simple. And I had a couple phone calls and a couple emails. I had somebody that purchased a day pass out of the blue that was just visiting from out of town. And those tend to be my most complicated
Yeah.
customers because they don't know our system and they don't know that I'm not here all the time. And so we've tried to solve the problem a couple times. Like we put a QR code on the door, but of course they purchased a day pass and they were just trying to walk right in. And, as simple as like opening up the email and learning to like download your apps.
Yeah,
But so I
totally.
had to take that call and I just kind of popped back to the hotel really quick and made sure that the customer had access. I could even from Europe through Salto, I could open up the front door for him
Yeah,
and through my phone. And I just like, said, hey, why don't you go hang out in the lounge? Let me get this figured out for you. Give me 20 minutes. And he was like, cool, sweet. And yeah, I just went back and made sure he was booked in one of the offices and he was fine. So
perfect, nice. So
yeah,
you okay, so somebody can book a day pass in an office?
yeah. Mhm.
Ooh, I like
Yeah, so
that too.
we have it set up. We call it a day pass. It's 8 hours, but you can use that 8 hours any way you want in the month. So most people use it in one day.
Okay.
I haven't found a better way to do that with the offices than do it that way because of the doors and the access codes.
Yeah.
So, but most people like that they can buy an 8 hour day pass, but use it as two 4 hour
You are
passes.
super flexible. You are
Yeah.
like, "I'm just gonna let the people do what they want." I love
And
it.
what I try to do is like really listen to feedback. And I had a lot of people that were like, oh my gosh, I would just really like it like one day a month. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how can I make that work? And honestly, it's a better profit to do that. And it's
Yeah.
a way higher hourly rate than our memberships. So we actually make like the most money off our day
The
pass it. And
day
I should
yeah.
say the most money, but we make a nice chunk day passes and conference room rentals, like quick turnovers to where, they're only drinking one coffee.
Right.
They're not coming in and, they're not here 3 days a week
Yeah.
going through the fruit and the coffee, and it's
And the
not as
toilet
much
paper and all the right?
and me turning the offices and garbage bags, so it's actually a little bit more profitable. So, and we've had a lot of good feedback on it, and we have a lot of people that find us on Google that are visiting family from out of town, and
Yeah.
that's the product they go to is the day
No,
passes.
I love that, and then they need to go. I was telling somebody recently, oh, I had somebody somebody call about doing a really small co-working space in a small town in upstate New York. And I was saying like yeah, small towns are usually pretty underserved. My parents live in a small town and I had to drive 30 minutes and use like a lobby of the Fairfield Inn to, I just parked myself in there and I was like, well, this is my office for Zoom calls today because
Yeah,
there was like nowhere else. So it's such a gift to have that in town and they can book an office even to just like power through calls if they're visiting family. Totally such a
yeah.
nice option. Yeah.
And it honestly really works for us where we're at. There's a lot of lakes here in this part of town here in Michigan, like all over. And what we found is in the summer, it almost is like a resort. Like you'd almost be used the same way as like if you were traveling to a resort town and
Yeah.
needed somewhere to work, is these people were coming in to visit their family because they want to celebrate 4th of July on the boats and but they didn't have good internet there, or
Yep.
they have tons of families staying in the house and they need some peace and quiet. So we were actually slammed in the month of July, which we were really surprised about. There are people from out of town, like big cities that were coming here Googling co-working space, and we're the only one.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. Wait, was
yeah,
this your
it
first
worked.
summer that you were open?
Yeah, so we've only been
Okay.
open 1 year. It was 1 year, October
Nice.
1st. So,
So
yeah, yeah.
exciting. Happy anniversary. That's
Thank you,
exciting.
thanks.
Yeah,
Been an
so now you'll
adventure.
know I know it's funny whenever I do a podcast about like what to do if the summer is going to be slow for you. Like that then there's people in, vacation areas where right, the day passes pick up and how do you make sure people know you exist or how do you run yeah, you don't want to discount. I was going to say specials, but like promotions just to make sure
Yeah,
people find you. But I love
yeah,
that you're the only one in town.
for sure. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
that's like 23 or so Google reviews.
You
We're a
totally
part
do 5 stars, 23 5-star Google reviews.
yeah.
Open 1
And
year, I'm gonna give
yeah,
you, like, an A plus for that. That is
yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
it never hurts to ask. I usually always will just send a link and ask. And I've had a lot of people just also throw it out there. Like a lot of the day pass users will just give me a review, which is great. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I
Yeah.
love customer service. And so for me, being able to like jump on a call from Milan and open up the front door and make sure that that client felt comfortable
Yeah.
while I was fixing the problem on the back end, like
Yeah.
that's important to me. So I work hard for those 23 reviews.
Okay, I feel like you owe, like, a sweatshirt to Amanda Lucas, who wrote, like, 7 paragraphs and posted 10
She did.
photos.
She did.
Amazing! Do you know her?
Yeah.
I also love all those
No.
photos because now I can see how cute it is.
Yeah, she lives in a local town and she was looking for somewhere to like work. I think she was here for like a week or so. I had given her a free trial, like, and she called and she's like, "Can I have a free trial today?" And I was like, "Yeah, come on in. Let's like set it up." And I don't even know if she ever has become a member. I don't think so, but she always speaks so highly just because she needed a place for a day and I was like, "Hey, come try it out." And she's like, literally had never met her before. So, very sweet
And then
girl.
she wrote your best Google review ever.
Yeah,
You never know. I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So
you
good.
never know, like, who you make an impression on, so
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah, I
people
think it's
really
also small town. I'm from like, it's a small town area,
yeah,
so
I love it. Okay, tell me about your mail program. I see it on the website. High five.
yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Because I know you were thinking like, do I do it you're worried about being gone, but I'm guessing
Yes.
the volume of clients and mail has not overwhelmed you.
Yeah. So, it's been going. Like we have a couple of clients who had signed up with iPostal, but they had like never finished their like documentation. So I've done a couple like send backs, which is fine. But I was happy that people were finding us through iPostal. So I was like, okay, that's good. And they liked the pricing. And then I just signed up my first organic lead the other
Woohoo!
day through Anytime Mailbox. So that was great. So So yeah, I have a lot of people that are very interested in it. And again, because we're in a small town, people have a lot of questions about what that looks like. So
Mhm.
that is always my battle here is I am always trying to tell everybody what co-working is,
Yeah.
what a virtual mailbox is. And so there's a lot of education I have to do in the community because everybody's like, what is that? What do you do? So it's just a lot of explaining all of that. So I was happy that it didn't pop off too much before I left. But
But looking forward to it to grow. Yeah, I see you have some great
yeah,
FAQs on your page. I love your 3 packages. These look awesome. They display so nicely. I think your website
thank
is
you.
really nicely done. I know I've told you
Thank
that
you. I
before.
did tell our website designer that you had given him alkalies in our class.
Nice.
So not really how like yeah, it looks really good and we appreciate you. He does well. And we also, we get found a lot on Google. So he does a really good job of keeping us seen and also reminding me to like send him blogs, which I need to do. And, he definitely any feedback I give him about like, hey, can we add a FAQ or hey, can we make sure that things look really crisp and clean? And I love that it's not too wordy usually, and you can find the packages pretty quick and also purchase like right away, which is good.
Totally. Yes, I love it's like super easy. You've got the sign up now buttons and with the Office R&D, people can just join right online. So you're doing all the things. Wait, hold on. I'm looking for your blog. Do you have a blog?
Yes, I think we ended up putting it at the bottom and not at the top
Oh,
headers.
it's called Articles. Yep.
Articles.
Don't forget you have blog post templates in the program.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Totally, you could just send them to him and tell him to add them. I don't see them in
Yeah.
here, so I bet you haven't done it yet. That'll
Okay.
help
Yeah.
with some keywords. Yep.
Yeah. Love it. So yeah, it's been good. Like I said, I get surprised all the time how many people just message us from Google. And again, just people who are used to co-working spaces in big cities when they're looking for that. Like we do have the unique advantage of being the only one in our little area. And I shouldn't say little, we have like it's not like a tiny little tiny town, but like we're right in the corner of like three like bigger towns, but none of them have
Yeah.
co-working. And then going out to like the Detroits or the Ann Arbors, nobody wants to drive and do that.
Yep,
Michigan
totally.
had a horrible, horrible construction summer that was just ridiculous. So any time you can cut off a commute and put your head down and work, like
Yeah,
is helpful.
people are up for that. I was just gonna ask you spending how much time do you spend in the space?
Oh, it just kind of depends week to week. I'm usually here probably like 3 days a week on and off. So I usually spend at least one full day in the office. And then depending on when I have members booked, I'll usually come in sometimes a little later and then stay till when they leave so then I can turn all the offices.
Mhm.
Most of our members are very traditional and they're doing like 8 a.m. to 4
Yeah,
or 9 a.m. to 5, though we do have memberships that are 24/7. We have nighttime memberships if you need nights and weekends.
after
And
shift.
after your pick the shift, which I do laugh because my poor husband really thought that would be the one. And we literally have never had anybody sign
I
up
know.
for
I
that.
do. See that here and there, and I do feel like
Yeah.
right because people are always like, the side hustlers. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
we get more like we get have lawyers that use the office and financial consultants and we have a pizza food truck that uses our spaces like their admin space, but like those like nighttime like 21-year-old
right.
kids that are like I'm building a business, like I haven't really seen that too much. We do have a couple people that like to use it on the weekends, so they'll buy day passes and
Okay.
come in on the
Yeah.
weekends for that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I do think the part-time private office after the pandemic, a lot of the attorneys like went home, right? I mean, you said it was a
Yeah.
law office and I don't know if that must if that was post-pandemic that they gave it up and were like, we don't need it. But
Yeah.
they occasionally, right, want to get out of the house or meet a client or, whatever. So, what size are your offices? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh my gosh, probably not. I think our whole space is like 1,600 square feet, maybe 1,800 square feet.
Yep.
And I mean, each office is pretty sizable. It's cozy in here. Like you can bring two guests in, like if you're meeting somebody or,
In
somebody
the
to come in.
office?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
So we
they're
always
pretty
have,
sizable. I usually
yeah.
find law firms tend to have nice spacious offices because the attorneys
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, we have one larger office, and I debated on making that like more of like a dedicated desk section and like putting two
Yeah,
desks back there and doing that. But then I was like, let me wait and see if people are actually asking for that. Let's just use that as office space. And some of our teams will book that out because then they can collaborate in the larger office.
yeah,
Or I'll have people like one of my lawyers, she likes to book the larger office because when she's bringing in clients, there's an extra table and they can do signings and things like that there. So, but I was scared people would be fighting over that office all the time. And it's not. Everybody kind of just books it
what
when
they
they need
need.
it for the extra space.
Yeah, I love that. The dedicated desk room is so interesting to me. That would be my worst nightmare. Like, I no thank you. And so I think it's such a weird product because we always think like what we like or don't like it's universal, which is not the case. I
Yeah.
was in Chicago and we toured it's called wait, hold on. I think it's called Work From. It's at the Hoxton in Chicago and they have a
Okay.
dedicated desk room. And I was like, what? None of those people in that room know each other or like they're not on the same team? No,
Yeah.
they're in this, like and it had windows, but, they're all, like, sitting right next to each other, and I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I don't want that." I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it was full. I mean, so, it can work.
It can work. I have visited a couple of co-working spaces that were smaller, more boutique in some outside areas here. And what I noticed with a couple of the dedicated desks is that they were really messy. So people, have their desk and that's their
Mm.
desk for the month
Yep.
or, their contract. And there was stuff everywhere. And that is a like CEO, like I like my space. It's pretty. And like
Yeah, and
people
you
like
wanna
that
keep
it
it that
looks
way. Yep.
it's professional. And so I didn't love that right off the bat. I was like, I
You
don't
don't
know
have
if I like
control, right? You can't tell the member, "Hey, you're too
yeah.
messy," like,
Yeah, like keep it professional,
Yep.
so, like, I mean, there's this one that there was like somebody's like dry cleaning was hanging, and I was like, I can't do that. So,
Well,
and
the
again, for the greater good of the community, right? Because like I don't work well with clutter,
yeah.
and then if I'm looking across and there's clutter,
It's
that
distracting in
that's
a sense.
yeah,
Totally. Well, the part-time private office is really perfect for your personality because
yeah,
I know I can remember I feel the same way and I would walk by, offices. We had this author that was like a book hoarder. And probably she's doing research and so she just
yeah,
had like 100 books in her office on the
mhm,
floor in stacks and I'd walk by and be like, "Oh my god."
yeah, blinders, yeah,
And it's
I
just, you just see it through the window and it's like, okay, it's fine. It's her office. She can do whatever she wants in there. Or like the room of like four guys and they have like chips all over the place. And yeah, it's just like, well, everybody can do what they want, but it is like really nice to feel like everything's fresh and clean and there's no clutter. So
yeah.
you have that because you turn like everybody takes all their stuff home every night and you go
Yep.
in and like, yeah, reset. Yeah.
I white the desks and I change the trashes and 9 times out I mean, there might be like, we always have popcorn. Like, I try to be very consistent with my snacks. We
Popcorn's
always
the
have little
worst. I love
yeah.
popcorn and
We
also
have
the
like the
messiest
skinny
snack.
pop, like, bags, but sometimes there's popcorn on the floor, but very rare. Like, most of the time, I feel like people are, picking it up. There might be some smudges from, like, lunch, but it's always pretty clean in here. Even the
Yeah.
coffee station, we made sure to like we didn't want to have to do a coffee pot because I'm not here
Yep.
to be changing
Change
that
the
out. So
grinds
we
and
did an espresso and it's always stayed pretty clean. Like
yep.
there's never like a big mess over there, which is good. So it's kind of like kind of relate it to almost like an Airbnb where everybody kind of like picks up after themselves before they leave for the day. And if I needed to if we started getting busier and busier, which that's the hope, and if our turns were coming over quicker and quicker throughout the day, I would have to like maybe leave some cleaner or like a little note like, hey, make sure to wipe down your desk and take your trash, just like an Airbnb. So that would be my next step if I noticed people booking back to back to back.
Yep. Well, and again, I was just thinking, like, you are there because you can be, and you're probably doing other things, working on your other
Mhm.
businesses,
Yeah,
but you don't have to be, right? Like, you did go to Europe for 2 weeks and
I
everything
did.
was
Yeah,
fine, or you
it was
could
fine.
have somebody, like, pop in and do the turns and the mail, so you could
Yeah.
totally kinda manage that way if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, and at some point, I think, we've been open for 1 year. I have the time to do it. At some point, yes, there'd probably be like a part-time employee like to help in between because I do go to a lot of community events. I'm very involved with like the chambers and the business groups because I want to make sure people know I'm here and being involved in community has been very helpful in the small town
Yep.
community. And so I've had instances where I'm like at an event and all of a sudden I see that there's like a double booking, like one's ending and another one's starting. And I'm like, I can't go turn the office. But I mean, nobody's being ultra messy
Yeah.
either. So it's never been like a big deal. And I usually will even message somebody and be like, hey, just let you know I didn't have time to turn the office. Let me know if you have any issues when you go in. Like I
Yep.
always just try to be on top of it before they can
They wanna
notice
say
anything.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think right, it's sort of the expectation you set for to your point, like, you kinda get in front of it, but also you could just make it a thing, like, leave a spray bottle and a
Mhm.
wipe, and people could feel comfortable. I would love that, like, every time I go to a coffee shop, you're like, like,
Mhm.
if I could just, like, wipe it myself, that would make me
Yeah.
so happy. I wouldn't
Yeah.
care, you know?
Right. On the treadmills and the ellipticals.
Right, at the gym, exactly, like, like, it's your it's just part of the etiquette. You just wipe it down
Yeah.
when you're done. No big deal. Yep.
Next step is as we get busier and get more members, those double bookings, which have happened a couple of times, but it's very rare that we have all 6 offices
Yeah.
booked every single day because people are using their
Yeah.
hours so differently. But yeah, I mean, even at the gym, even if the person that left didn't clean up, the next person
Yeah.
sometimes does, right? They're like, "Ooh, I don't
Yeah.
wanna like, it's
Ugh,
unsanitary. I'm gonna wipe it before
just
I
wipe it.
sit." So, yeah,
Exactly.
so that would be my next little move maybe.
Okay, I know, I like it.
Yeah.
I also love you mentioned the community events, especially in a small town. I do think we underestimate how impactful that can be. It's hard because it's kind of hard to measure, but it is the word of mouth piece is really important.
Yes.
Yeah, I had another operator say, they got a little less involved in like the chambers and they were kind of relying on like, just inbound, like Google, like to your point.
Mhm.
But especially when people don't know, it's so good to be kind of out there and it takes more effort, but especially at the beginning,
Yeah.
when people are still learning and, you're ramping up and probably it's fun to kind of,
Yeah.
be in the mix.
And working at a co-working space and I'm at the front desk, like, and coming from the world of doing hair for 24 years, having that socialization as well and meeting other business owners is great. But I will tell you, knowing the people from the chamber and a couple other business groups, even on like Facebook and social media platforms, anytime somebody is like, I need an office, it is my name that is listed like 100 times, because I do make myself known in the community. I do donate space to a couple local charities that want to host their meetings here, and they always post that they're here. The chamber has used our space to meet with new clients sometimes. So that's great. Like that is just advertisement and
Yeah.
people posting about our space constantly and it's really been helpful. So I think that's really helped the business grow. So yeah, I think it's very important. I think people nowadays tend to just want to be so inward and not go do the business development out in
Yeah.
the community. And I think it's really helped with this type of space.
Yep, 100%. Can't underestimate relationships and word of mouth for sure. Okay, what's on the roadmap for 2026?
Oh, well, we're hoping that our meal programs keeps kind of building and we know that's gonna just kind of be a slow roll, which we're just excited about for that. We are actually starting to renovate. We have a lower level here as well. And so we're starting to renovate that to turn that into a workshop space for 2026. So
Mhm.
we've been asked multiple times. Our lounge fits about 10 people and our conference room fits about 6 to 8. But we've been asked, like, oh, can you have like a look and learn or a presentation for like 15 to 20. So we're turning our lower level into a workshop space. So just starting to work on that. Paint. It's already kind of partially finished. It's just we have to paint and decorate and things like that. There's a little kitchenette down there, which I'm sure our members will be excited about.
Yeah.
So, because like right now, like we have a small fridge for like creamers and things
Yeah,
like
but you don't
that.
have a
But
full fridge, which also helps
no,
you keep it
so
nice and clean and
it
no
does.
lunches rotting on the shelf.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll definitely put a different level of, cleaning and stuff, but it'll just be nice to even have that for like our events. We've been hosting pop-up shops. We have one coming up here, I think next week, where we turn our offices into like little pop-up shops. So there's a different vendor in each office, and we usually have like champagne and like a boot, like just different things. So that's just like a fun event and a way to get people in our door. So we're excited to continue those for 2026 and in the workshop space. So I believe that's our 2026 goals. So
Fun. I
and to
love
kind of
that.
just keep plugging away. We'd like to see our memberships grow, and just keep building. Again, for year one, we're super happy, but we are excited to see more growth in year two.
Yeah. I love the workshop space because there's probably not much of that around, and you own the building, so your economics are a little bit different. Like you can
Yeah.
handle if it's not 100% utilized, but also the fact that it's on its own floor. So
Yeah.
it could be used during the business day, which is great. A lot
Yeah.
of operators don't have that capability because it's just too entwined in the space. So it's too disruptive. So
Yeah.
that's
For
fun.
sure. Yeah, we love that. And like I said, we've been asked a lot about it. And so that makes me just go, okay, what is the need in the community?
Yeah.
And we do have like libraries, and a local like fire station has a workshop space, but people tend to like that it looks professional and it's kind
Yeah.
of cozy and
Yeah.
it's just a different vibe. But it's not like just
Yeah.
plain. And I concierge a lot of our events that we have here. So, I'm helping them, put together their, menu, or giving them a list of vendors if they need help with that, and making sure that their clients or their workshop people are finding the space and walking them down. And, you're not getting that at like the library, which the
Totally.
library is a great
Yeah.
resource, but it's just like a different feel. So
Yeah.
we're excited.
I think even and the fact that you have digital door access, run our local rec soccer league, and we have a board meeting every month, and we will do it on Zoom a fair amount, but we really
Mm.
like to meet in person.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere. We have the rec center, our community center was recently redone, but it is booked so far out in advance. Like if I don't plan way ahead, forget it. And so, and then I'm looking around, I'm like, there's got to be a co-working space. There's like no place that we can get in after hours. It's just
Yeah.
like there's literally nowhere for us to meet, which is so like strange. So even that kind of use case, like where if you know the people and you could give them access to come in and just kind of do their own meeting after hours, is so I think every community needs that kind of space.
Yeah. Honestly, like after 5 o'clock here, there's not a lot of people working anyways. So we do get people using the lounge for different small events, but
Yep.
being able to have a meeting like that. And the nice thing is we do have the keys. So
Right.
I don't necessarily have to be here if it's not like a presentation, like an
Yeah,
event.
exactly. No, simple, right. We
Yeah.
just roll in and we
Yeah.
just need a place to meet and bring our Chipotle and go through our yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're excited about that. We're kind of excited to see how that plays out. My husband and I just had when we were in Europe, we always have like meetings about our businesses like every quarter. And so we did
It's so
that
fun.
while we
I
were
think I
there.
just saw on Instagram, and it made me think like, why don't I do that? Like a whole reel about having your business offsite. And
Yeah,
I
we
was
do
like,
that.
what? I
We've been
wanted to
doing
do
it for
that.
about 5 years. Like we do like our marriage goals, we do our business goals because we have multiple businesses. And
Uh-huh.
so we sit down and we set like our like what we're working on. And we were like, okay, like when we get back, we have to order the paint. We have to, fix the this. And
Yeah.
he already ordered a big TV monitor for like the presentation area. And so we're already like moving on that. I have to find some furniture, and it's almost Black Friday. So I have to
Oh,
like
you
get
brought
on
your
that.
list. I know. I can't believe it's
Yeah.
almost. I know. That
Yeah.
it's so yeah, it's a good time of year to do it. To your point, if you do it before Black Friday, that way if there are
Yeah.
things you need to have
Yeah.
on the list, and you just have that energy going into the next year, and you can write it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a total business trip. Did you visit any co-working spaces on your travels?
I did in Europe, but I did take my nephew to Nashville the weekend before I went to Europe, and he was looking at a college, so he had an all-day college tour, and I did visit a co-working space in Nashville, and it's just so interesting. It's interesting to see, like, the communication and, like, how fast they send you, like, how to enter the space and, like and then just visiting, I was like, "Okay, like, this is definitely different than mine," or how I would set it up,
Mhm.
and so it is fun. I've visited one in, like, New York City before too, which is totally different than Nashville, and
Yeah,
so it is always fun to, like, pop in and do that and just have somewhere to work for the day, and also just kinda take notes too, like, what could I be doing better? What are they doing well? So it's a good check-in for yourself.
totally. Yeah. Like the dedicated desk room that I saw when I was in Chicago. I was like, "Oh, look,
Yeah.
it works." And they had really good snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, the snacks, people like the snacks. So, I was
Yep.
just looking at my P&L for the year and I was like, I wish I could cut that grocery bill down a little bit." But it's like, people come, like, I really try to keep consistency. So it's like, I try to keep the same, like, creamers, like, and I have all the options, and we
Yeah.
provide, like, sparkling waters and organic fruit. And, it's people like that. So,
They do, and it's that, like right, special touch, and they don't have to worry, they're not gonna starve to death if they're
yeah.
forget, their lunch or whatever.
Well, you do
So,
get some people that, like, use it as their lunch.
right, which is not
Yeah.
the right, totally not the
Yeah.
plan, but
Yeah, but it balances out at the end of the day. So, and
do
it's,
people oh, go ahead, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do people DoorDash, like, if they need lunch, or do they run out and get lunch?
I feel like most people run out and get lunch.
Yeah.
I haven't seen really many people. I mean, if they've used DoorDash, like, it hasn't been like while I've been here, but we
Yeah.
do have Office R&D does have, like, the screen on the, like, we have the screen on the front for check-in. So, like,
Yep.
if somebody's client comes, they can check in on the front
Nice.
keypad and it alerts them. And the same thing with deliveries. So they
Yep.
do have that option to use that as well.
Nice. Perfect.
So
Awesome.
yeah, little
Okay. Thank you for sharing all your nuggets and your
yeah,
story. It was fun for me to learn. And I know when you own a co-working space, you love to like get inside of somebody else's business and
yeah.
understand like what technology you're using and right, how does this work for you? So I love that you're doing some things that are a little bit different and get the wheels turning.
Yeah, I think it's important to, like, use the space that you have. Like, it doesn't have to be the big industrial buildings with tons of square footage. It worked for us to, like, hey, this is what we have. How can we make this work for, like, our vision? And it's been great. And the community's received it well.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, keep us posted on your mail program and
Yeah.
your workshop space and happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Thanks for having me.